Breaking across the landscape, a brief, icy, and visibly tense press conference just detonated inside the Browns locker room, sending shockwaves through the entire organization. Something happened behind those walls that completely flipped the atmosphere heading into Sunday's matchup. Nobody expected a reaction this explosive, and the way it unfolded made one thing undeniable. Frustration has been simmering beneath the surface for weeks. What looked like a routine quarterback change has now turned into the headline story of the entire NFL. Reporters were stunned. Stefanski was blindsided, and the dog pound completely divided. Some fans see leadership emerging, others see pure, unfiltered aggravation. But one thing's certain: something is fundamentally out of sync inside the Cleveland Browns locker room. And if your heart beats in orange and brown, you better hit that subscribe button. Because here, we breathe every snap of this team. Even when the whole operation feels like it's burning from the inside out, the Cleveland Browns are riding another chaotic roller coaster season. What began with optimism has devolved into a grind filled with injuries, inconsistency, and absolute turbulence at the most crucial position on the field: quarterback. 3 different starters in a single season, that's a statistic no franchise wants attached to its name. The record doesn't reveal the entire truth, but it definitely exposes how unstable things have become. Every week feels like an identity crisis, and standing right in the center of this storm is Jeudy, the guy who was supposed to be the steadying force. A Pro Bowler last season. A player this fanbase believed would elevate the offense. But this year, he hasn't looked like himself. 31 catches, 356 yards, 1 lonely touchdown. Numbers far below his talent level and nowhere near what the city expects from a bona fide playmaker. Fans still believe he's a core piece. But inside the locker room, everything shifted after the latest bombshell. Another quarterback change, this time handing the reins to a rookie. And that's when things truly began to heat up. On Wednesday, Kevin Stefanski confirmed what had been whispered behind the scenes. Rookie Shedeur Sanders is getting the start. Yes, that Shedeur son, raised under stadium lights his entire life, now stepping into Cleveland's huddle. But what should have been a hopeful, energizing moment instantly turned uncomfortable during his media availability. Jeudy looked visibly irritated, delivering short, clipped, tension-filled answers that made the room tighten. "It's going to be important," he muttered when asked about practicing with Sanders. "He's growing. You just need reps." Flat tone, no spark, no warmth. Reporters who know Jeudy's usual charisma noticed it instantly. This wasn't the same Jerry, and local media pounced on it. Some labeled his comments disrespectful. Others called it brutal honesty. But nobody ignored it. The timing right after the QB announcement made it feel like a coded message. And now the question hovering over Berea is clear. Is a trust issue forming between Jeudy and his new quarterback? The dog pound erupted online. Half the fan base defended Jeudy, arguing he's fed up with watching his prime wasted in a revolving door offense. The other half blasted him, demanding he keep drama out of the public eye. Not the time, fans posted on x.cleveland.coms. Ashley Bostock summed it up flawlessly on 92.3 The Fan. That was a weird presser. Jerry's always straightforward. Win or lose, this moment felt different. His silence spoke louder than any headline. Inside the facility, the atmosphere tightened instantly. Veteran players dodged questions, but sources say Stefanski quietly pulled Jeudy aside for a private, no-nonsense conversation right after the presser. Nobody knows what was said, but one thing is clear: the head coach senses the tension. This locker room is balancing on a razor's edge. One wrong move, and the entire structure could fracture. Meanwhile, Shedeur Sanders handled the spotlight like a seasoned veteran. He openly admitted he and Jeudy barely have reps together, but he stood tall and didn't flinch. "I know I'm the right guy," he said. "I like pressure. It brings out my best." It's exactly the kind of unapologetic confidence the dog pound wants. Now it's about translating that swagger onto the field. This quarterback switch completely reshapes Cleveland's offensive identity. With Sanders under center, expect a faster rhythm, quicker throws. More motion, more creativity, and a style that actually meshes perfectly with Jeudy's route running precision. If they can sync up, and that's the tough part. Sanders took over after Dillon Gabriel's concussion and barely received any snaps with the first-team unit. Last game, he finished just 4-for-7 with a pick. Ugly numbers, but understandable for a rookie thrust into chaos without chemistry or timing. Offensive coordinator Alex Van Pelt said it best. The kid's got talent. But timing comes from reps, and Jeudy knows that's exactly what's eating at him. Since arriving in Cleveland, he's caught passes from 6 different quarterbacks. 6. No continuity, no rhythm, no trust being built. You can't create timing when the quarterback carousel never stops spinning. It's no shock that Brown's passing attack sits bottom 5 in the league, scraping together under 190 yards per game. For an offense with Jeudy and Amari Cooper, that's downright brutal. And the emotional toll? Absolutely real. When your WR1 is visibly frustrated, the entire room feels the tremor. But this is Cleveland frustration doesn't always break you. Sometimes it ignites something. Sometimes chaos becomes the catalyst. Maybe this is exactly what sparks the turnaround. Because in this city, nothing arrives easy. The Browns don't rise in comfort. They rise in fire. Sunday is going to be a full-blown gut check. Cleveland faces a fierce AFC rival in a game that could determine the entire direction of the season. The dog pound will be roaring, electric, and ready to explode. It's Shedeur's first career start, and every eye in the stadium will be locked on him, Jeudy. Every snap, every route, every glance between them will be dissected. If the chemistry clicks, the narrative shifts instantly. If not, the pressure on Stefanski could melt steel. This is one of those Cleveland weeks where everything hangs in the balance. Either the team rallies and discovers that gritty identity, or things spiral into full-blown crisis mode. Sunday might be the dividing line between playoff hope and rebuild reality. So drop it in the comments. Believe if you think Sanders is ready to take command. Enough if you're exhausted from the chaos. Let's see where the dog pound really stands. Cleveland fans have endured every kind of heartbreak. But this one stings differently. Watching a player like Jeudy lose that internal spark hurts because we know he cares. He came here to elevate this offense, to help rebuild, to be that guy. Maybe just maybe this storm is exactly what awakens his best version. Football is a ruthless game pressure, passion, and moments that define careers. Sunday could mark the beginning of something new for Jeudy, for Shedeur, for this entire team. No matter how turbulent it gets, one thing remains unshakable. The heart of the dog pound. Loud, loyal, unbreakable. You can take the wins. Take the luck, take the comfort, but you will never take that heart. The season may be hanging by a thread, but the spirit of Cleveland never dies. So tell me, Browns Nation, do you believe Jeudy and Shedeur Sanders can finally link up and ignite this offense? Or is it time to tear this thing down and start fresh? Drop your take below. The best ones are making it into the next video. This is the dog pound, loyal in pain and glory. If you live this, smash that subscribe button, hit the bell, and ride with us to the end. Because in Cleveland, we never quit. It just went down and it's bad. Something harsh and unexpected just detonated inside the Browns locker room. The dog pound can already feel the shockwaves rolling through Cleveland before kickoff against the Raiders. Word coming out of Berea hit like a sledgehammer, rattling the team's confidence and throwing the entire fan base into full-blown alert mode. What was supposed to be a week of optimism, a week of renewal, a week where rookie quarterback Shedeur Sanders finally grabbed the reins, is now twisted into a week full of questions. And this time, it's serious. The news centers around one of the most respected pillars in the entire building. A player who embodies relentless effort, emotion, and pure Cleveland toughness. A heartbeat of the offense, a steady pulse in the huddle. But today, it's a real chance he doesn't suit up, and that changes everything. But hold on before we dive into the full storm. If you bleed orange and brown, if you live and die with every snap, if you truly believe this team is destined to shock the league, hit that subscribe button. Because here, we live the Cleveland Browns 24/7. No filters, no sugarcoating, just pure, uncut dog pound energy. All right, let's get into it. Because what just dropped out of Berea? Nobody saw it coming. The week actually started with real hope in Cleveland. After months of quarterback chaos, trades, injuries, and endless uncertainty, the Browns finally had a new man under center, Shedeur Sanders. The rookie many believed was a first-round lock who shockingly slid to the fifth, was finally getting his shot. The city was buzzing with anticipation. Browns fans were ready to see the kid who took over headlines nationwide. Confident, polarizing, electrifying. But this is the Browns. Nothing ever comes easy. Just as the excitement began to build, the gut punch arrived. Kevin Stefanski was designing the perfect blueprint for Shedeur. Simple throws, safe reads, controlled progress. That meant relying heavily on his security blanket. Quick passes, high percentage throws, and above all, his tight end. And that's where David Njoku comes in. Njoku has become the soul of this offense. Over the years, he's matured, battled through injuries, Ken transformed himself into one of the emotional anchors of this team. Fans were fired up to see that Sanders to Njoku connection. Quick slants, chain-moving third downs, controlling the tempo, giving the rookie a lifeline. But fate had other plans. Then came the confirmation. Nobody wanted to hear. Stefanski stepped to the podium and broke the silence. David didn't practice on Wednesday. The reason? That nagging knee injury he's been fighting for over a month? Stefanski labeled him day-to-day. This time, Njoku didn't even suit up for limited drills. And that's a massive red flag. Sources inside Berea say there is real concern about his availability for Sunday. Njoku, last year's Pro Bowl tight end with 64 catches, isn't just another name on the sheet. He's the tone setter, enforcer in the trenches. The safety valve when the play collapses. The guy who absorbs punishment so others can shine. Against the Raiders with Maxx Crosby coming off the edge like a missile. You need that kind of presence. The mood in Berea shifted instantly. Stefanski's expression told more truth than his words. He's working hard, the coach said quietly. But Browns fans know exactly what that means. When Stefanski drops the day-to-day line, it's usually not encouraging. The moment the news hit social media, the dog pound exploded. Without Njoku, the kid's going to get destroyed. Can't lose our Pro Bowler now. We're cursed at this point. Inside the locker room, everything went still. Is that heavy? Suffocating silence where everyone is thinking the same thing, but nobody wants to say it aloud. Myles Garrett, always the captain, delivered it straight. It's time to rally. It's not matter who's out there. We ride together. That's Cleveland. Unity through adversity. Brotherhood forged in chaos. But let's be honest. Njoku's potential absence hits hard. He's the spark plug. The emotional engine. The guy who injects juice into every rep, every huddle, every moment. Watching him limp, watching him miss reps, watching him struggle, it weighs on the entire room. Local media immediately dove into the fallout. Analysts on ESPN Cleveland pointed out, Njoku has been the team's second most productive receiver over the last 2 seasons and a critical blocker in the run game. Losing him now is like tossing your rookie quarterback into a hurricane without a life vest. On paper, losing Njoku is bad. In reality, it's a straight-up nightmare. He isn't just a pass catcher. He's the glue in Stefanski's offense. The rare tight end who does everything. Block, catch, protect, lead. Without him, the entire game plan must be rewritten. Stefanski will likely lean on rookie Harold Fannin Jr., who has shown flashes of promise, but still carries the inevitable growing pains of a first-year tight end stepping into massive shoes. If you want, I can continue rewriting the rest of the script you haven't sent yet. Thank you guys. See you next video.